Welcome back, everyone. Let's go and take a look at the iPhone 12 Pro and compare it against the iPhone 10 and see which specific phone is the better option for you. Now, definitely the iPhone 12 Pro is the better phone, but it's definitely a lot more expensive than the iPhone 10. And personally, I've been kind of stating that the iPhone 10 is a really good value per dollar, and for around $200 to $250, it's a solid option in my opinion. So let's go and see how both these things compare. If you want to pick up either one of these phones, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there. You can help support the channel at the same time. Now, the iPhone 10 is a little bit of a smaller phone if you guys couldn't be able to tell. The iPhone 10 has a 5.8-inch OLED display, and it's actually a pretty decent panel. I've been talking about this phone a lot for, pretty much the day it came out, and although this iPhone is a little bit dated now and Apple's trying to kind of eliminate it, to be honest, I think Apple did a great job with this phone when it first came out, and I think it sits at a very good spot. It may not be the best phone of all time right now anymore, but this was a very impactful phone, and when I look at the iPhone 10 and I look at the 13 Pro and this iPhone, to be honest, there's a lot of differences, but there's a lot of similarities as well. So this iPhone, timeless, I love it. The 12 Pro, on the other hand, 6.1-inch OLED display, Super Retina XDR OLED display, and this is a very good iPhone. These are personal iPhones that I use at this, different times, but these were, I think I went from the 10 to the 11 Pro, 11 Pro to 12 Pro, and this is a very good iPhone too. It looks very good. The display is very awesome. There are some times where I think the iPhone 10 display might be a little bit better, but that may be placebo. I think the 12 Pro's panel still looks very good, and I think without a doubt, this is probably a better panel. It's a little bit bigger, but on top of that, the iPhone 10 and the 12 Pro both have a little bit of a different architecture when it comes down to the design on the sides. The iPhone 10 has this curved side to it, so you can get a good little grasp on it. The iPhone 12 Pro feels a little bit thicker. It's also a much heavier phone, but this one has a flat side. The iPhone 12 Pro pretty much feels like a bar of gold, especially when you get it in this gold color, and it definitely feels more premium. Although the 12 Pro has its own issues, I do appreciate the fact that it's much more premium feeling than the iPhone 10, but the iPhone 10 still feels very good as well. Now on the back, we do have a frosted glass back on the 12 Pro that looks very beautiful, and as I mentioned before, this is almost like a timeless phone. It looks very good in my opinion. The iPhone 10, on the other hand, still looks very good, but we do have a we do not have a frosted glass back. I didn't mean to stutter there. We have a standard glass back. Now, is this a big deal? Personally, I don't really think it's a crazy big deal, but it is kind of an annoyance where we have something like that's so premium on the 12 Pro, and it obviously wins here. You also have that triple camera setup here with a LiDAR sensor. The iPhone 10 has that dual camera setup, wireless charging on both, IP certification on both, although I think it is better on the 12 Pro. Lightning port at the bottoms, MagSafe charging here if you're into it, and that kind of covers it up on the outside. Now, in terms of software and longevity, what I'll definitely tell you is the iPhone 10 is probably still going to be supported for the next 2 years, maybe even more, but I don't think this phone is going to be supported for a crazy amount of time, especially when compared to something like the iPhone 12 Pro. The 12 Pro is going to outlast the iPhone 10. Even if this iPhone gets an extra year of support than what it's supposed to get, it's still not even going to come close to the iPhone 12 Pro. So that's kind of like a big thing to keep in mind. Another thing that I actually want to kind of hit on is with the Apple's repair program. Apple made a repair program. The iPhone 12 Pro is supported in there. So even if you do have some issues, you can fix them yourselves, although it's still a fairly expensive process and it's not free. So, you're spending a ton of money to fix it. And it may actually be cheaper now to repair the iPhone 10, from third party than to even to repair the iPhone yourself. So that kind of covers it up there. Now let's go into a speed comparison between both these devices. The iPhone 10 has that Apple A11 Bionic chip inside of it with 3 gigabytes of RAM, where the iPhone 12 Pro has that Apple A14 Bionic chip inside of it with 6 gigabytes of RAM. So let's go and see which one is the faster one here. Okay, there we go. I think the sun is in the way a little bit, but it's the best shot I could do. Let's go and hop out of these ones. See, all the apps are cleared out. Let's do their app stores. 3, 2, 1. And the 12 Pro is here, 10 is here, and the 12 Pro is definitely faster there. So that's a good sign. We do want the faster phone to be the newest one. Not that big of a difference here. This one didn't click in. Okay, that kind of covers it up there. Let's hop out of that one. Let's go and get into mail. 3, 2, 1. 12 Pro again is the faster one. Different pop-up here. Let's do clock. 3, 2, 1. And I definitely do think that they were both kind of the same. Not that big of a difference. Let's do stocks. 3, 2, 1. Both panels are the same on both, which is good. And the 12 Pro did end up getting into that one a little bit faster than my iPhone 10. Again, not a big deal, but something to keep in mind. Let's go and get into voice recorder. It looks like we don't have it here. Let's go and get into something like podcast. 3, 2, 1. I think the 12 Pro definitely was the faster one there. Let's go and get into camera. 3, 2, 1. Okay, that kind of covers it up there. Let's do photos. 3, 2, 1. Okay, about the same thing. Not that big of a difference there either. And that kind of covers it up here. Let's go and load into something like photos. Let's do phone. 3, 2, 1. And then the 12 Pro is faster there too. Music. 3, 2, 1. And I definitely do think that the 12 Pro may be the slower one here. Sorry. Yeah, the 10 was definitely the faster one here. Very, very interesting. We were on a different panel though, so keep that in mind. As always, we have a bunch of these third-party applications we can go and get into. Let's do Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. Pop up here, but I did exit out of it as fast as I could. So we'll give the 12 Pro maybe like a millisecond leeway. But even then, it doesn't need it because it's still faster. So even with those pop-ups, you're still getting a faster phone on the 12 Pro, which is always so interesting to just kind of think about. You can see with the iPhone 10 a little bit behind, but there were a few years of difference between these two, about 3 years of difference. So we're seeing pretty good differences between these two. Let's go and get into something like, I don't even know what apps I have the same on here anymore. It looks like a lot of these applications may be completely different on both of them. So we'll just kind of start it from the top again and kind of see what we can do. Let's go and get into something like books, 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone 12 Pro definitely was the faster one. Hopping out of this one, calculator, 3, 2, 1. I think the iPhone, they were both kind of the same. So that's a good sign. Let's do files, 3, 2, 1. Again, the iPhone 12 Pro is the faster one. And we'll just do one more. Let's just go and get into something like, let's just get into Siri shortcuts. That seems to be a good one that they both have, which I know for a fact we have here. 3, 2, 1. And again, the iPhone 12 Pro is faster. So I think when it comes down to it, the 12 Pro is definitely the faster phone without a doubt. You're getting a much faster phone. I think RAM management is going to be better as well. But again, for the price tag, I think the iPhone 10 did a pretty decent job for it being 3 years older than the iPhone 12 Pro. But as of right now, it's clear which one of the winner is. The 12 Pro is by far the faster one. Now let's go and hit on the cameras. On the back, like I mentioned, triple camera setup on the 12 Pro, a wide, ultra-wide, and telephoto lens with a LiDAR sensor. The iPhone 10 has a wide and telephoto lens. Now the iPhone 10 luckily can do 4K at 60 on the back, but only 1080p on the front and only at 30, which is fine, but you only get that telephoto lens as well. The iPhone 12 Pro does a great job at the camera because it has that extra ultra-wide sensor over the iPhone 10. Now, although the 12 Pro, it still has a lot of capability, definitely, there's been better cameras since then, and between the 12 Pro and the 11 Pro, not that big of a difference, but between the iPhone 10 and the iPhone 12 Pro, you're definitely getting a much better camera here on the 12 Pro. This one has video mode, photo mode, portrait mode, but it is missing some of the cool things that we have on the 12 Pro, like 4K at 60 on the front and the back, things like that ultra-wide sensor, so you're definitely getting a better camera setup on the iPhone 12 Pro. This type of device, like I mentioned, has everything that the iPhone 10 has and then some. So you're getting a really good sensor on the back of this thing, but you're also getting that ultra-wide sensor, which is really nice to have. Like I mentioned, although this isn't like the most perfect camera of all time, you still have a really good camera on this thing, and I'm really happy with the way Apple made this device and made this camera. I think it holds up very, very well in 2022. And now this takes us to the end of the video. And to be honest, although I do think that the iPhone 12 Pro is the better phone in pretty much most areas, I don't think this is necessarily the upgrade I would do. I would do an iPhone 10 to an iPhone 11 Pro before I would do the iPhone 10 to an iPhone 12 Pro. Because with an 11 Pro, you're getting it for cheaper than the 12 Pro, you're getting a more stable phone in my opinion. It's more or less the same size as the iPhone 10, but also it's cheaper, and that phone is still going to be lasting for a much longer period of time, and I had way less issues with my iPhone 11 Pro than I had with my iPhone 12 Pro. I would go from an iPhone 10 to an 11 Pro, keep that phone for a year or two, and then upgrade to maybe like a 13 Pro once those go down in the used market. If you go to the 12 Pro, you're probably going to end up keeping this for like 2-3 years, and this is kind of an interesting device for keeping it for that long. The iPhone 10 I think is still a really good phone for the price tag. Although the 12 Pro is the better one in most areas, I'm still surprised how good of a job Apple did with this specific device. So that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.